Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
Hey everybody, this is Dawn again with CBD Talk Podcast, and today we have Seth Green from Greener Pastures. And Seth is very active in the cannabis movement, so today we are going full plant cannabis. We might throw a little CBD in there as well, but as we all know, CBD is not the only part of the cannabis plant that is healthy and that can really improve people's lives. We actually do support full plant legalization nationwide as well. So without any further ado, thank you, Seth, so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. Thank you.
Well, how about we start out with a little bit of background on you. So I know that you're very active in the community, that you're really forward thinking and trying to help with legalization and such. But what is it that brought you to cannabis?
What brought me to cannabis is really when it started for me in middle school and high school. I started noticing that I got made more fun of from people that I went to school with by the way I walked, talked, and where I have cerebral palsy, my arm would stick out a little bit, and people would just make fun of me. And at a couple points, I didn't know where to turn, and I finally just figured, why not join a group, whether it be a biker group or whatever. And luckily, I got in with the pothead group, if you want to call it that, and they accepted me for who I am and everything, and they did not make fun of me. They stuck up for me when I would go into seizures at school, or if we would be at a basketball game, they would stick up for me. When people would look down on me or make fun of me. And so I started hanging out with them more and more. And the more I started smoking it, I thought it was a sin because it was a drug. And so it was either join a group and be social or not have a life at all. And to be honest, I did choose, the group over, not having a life, which ultimately turned out for the better. But I just ended up doing research on this plant that ultimately led to me asking questions to my doctors about why isn't this being researched? Why isn't this, why isn't there any clinical trials going on with this plant? Why aren't you looking at it at the least?
So did you notice that it helped you?
Yes, I noticed that it actually helped me with my arthritis, my scoliosis, my muscle spasms, and sometimes after I would have a 6 to 7 minute grand mal seizure, and I would come out of it, my body would be so sore that after I would smoke it or ingest it, that I could actually feel the muscles just relaxing
Mhm.
and me just wanting to fall asleep, because I'm not tight no more. My chest is opening up. I can breathe again, and etc. And after a while, I done studies on what pills did to you, compared uh, on what cannabis can do to you.
So even in high school, you were able to notice that this plant was helping your symptoms and your seizures and your pain and such.
Yes, yes, exactly. Even though I was in high school, yes, I was wild, but yes, I did notice the changes in this plant when I would smoke it or ingest it, making brownies or such. And as the years went on, I just started asking questions about why aren't they giving me this plant
Instead of the
when,
benzos and all the other.
when they are giving me these 4 to 5 different types of seizure medications that I'm taking 3 to 4 times a day, and then I'm on 2 to 3 uh, antidepressant, muscle relaxers, nerve pills, just everything under the sun. And I counted up, I was on, I think, 20 different types of medications. And all of the pills that I was on, the side effects of the pills, they caused muscle cramps, seizures, insomnia, depression, and anxiety. And then when I went to find out what cannabis can do for the body, it had none of them.
Mm-hmm.
It had no side effects. And then that's when I decided it's time to make a change. You either have to keep living like this, or there's something brought out here for you that can lead you to something greater.
Mm-hmm.
And this plant did. And I was able to find out so much about this plant that the government taught me that it was such a bad drug and it was horrible, but come to find out they was covering it up, did not want it to be legalized because they would lose money.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, the health benefits, they would be making money from the pill companies because the government are the ones that makes the pills and sells them. And after I found that out, I started researching marijuana, and I came across a video of a woman named Jacqueline Patterson. She has cerebral palsy just like me on the right side of the body. And after watching her video, it honestly made me have a new aspect on life and made me realize that even though you still have disabilities, you can still make a difference in one way or another. And she ultimately, I would say, kind of gave my life back to me because I found a place in society to where I can speak to people and they can understand me and what I'm about and how I feel about it, and they not look down upon me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I just started really hammering down on all of the local state representatives. And then I went and started talking to people around my community online that has illnesses that cannabis can cure or help.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you're not focused just on CP. You're using it, or you're trying to educate people kind of across the board with all the different illnesses as well.
Exactly, because I have not only CP, it comes with a stroke, I have seizures, scoliosis, depression, anxiety, multiple sclerosis, arthritis, and the doctors have said that they are seeing early signs of Parkinson's disease.
Mm-hmm.
And to many people, having all these illnesses may want them to give up, but I'm blessed because I have met a lot of people that has illnesses worse than me that cannot even talk, cannot even get up out of their chair, and I'm sitting here with the same illness, but I'm walking around and talking and being able to go out and do stuff that they're not able to.
Yeah.
And I see that as a gift from God to let me go out and do what I can in my power to educate, open people's minds up, to let them know that you are not only hurting us psychologically, but mentally and physically. You are ultimately breaking us down from your pill production. The people that you have told these many years that cannabis is a drug and that you should stay away from it, and the people that does it, that you should stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it still seems like even when they do pass CBD laws in Bible Belt states or states in general before they move on to the higher ups
Mm-hmm.
of putting more illnesses on a bill, they still look down upon you. And I don't know how many people agree with me on this, but I blame a lot on this of the drug movement because of Ronald Reagan.
I think that he was sold to build goods. He believed what his advisors told him.
Exactly.
And
he was a cowboy.
Yeah.
And he didn't know politics.
Yeah.
And his advisors sold him on false information,
Mm-hmm.
and he turned the country the way that the advisors really wanted him to turn it, I think.
Yeah. It's yeah, and different time, different place. There's more research now. We've been left in the dust when it comes to studies here. We're so far behind Israel, Spain, just Europe in general with what they're doing with the plant and their studies and what they're showing. But we're finally getting on board.
And if I may add, Israel and the United States is one of the, are the closest allies that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And they are accepting this plant, and the people of that country, our allies, are accepting this plant. And that is a religious land.
Yes, it is.
And they are accepting this plant, and they are doing so many great things with this herb that God provided. When we are overseas looking at people that are going to jail for a joint and spending 20 to 60 years.
And also people dying because they don't have access to it. And
Exactly.
because they're afraid to try it because of the stigma. Their state doesn't allow it. I'm telling you, as a mother, I would break every freaking law there is if my child needed it. I wouldn't even look back. From jail.
And I'm not afraid to say it. I break the law, but the reason I do is because it's either not have a life and end up just rotting your life away, or fighting to try to have a life and to try to make it better, not only for you, but for others. And if the government is willing to put me in jail for that, then this is not the United States,
Are you still, how many pharmaceuticals are you still taking? Were you able to cut back at all?
Yes, I was able to cut back from.
You had said like 20 pills, yeah.
20 different types of medication, only to one.
Wow.
And all the other ones that I am taking right now are just over the counter. I hardly don't like even taking a single ibuprofen.
Yeah.
The truth. People might think that's silly.
Well, it's not, because of what it can do to your
poison in your body.
Yeah. I'd rather have something natural if possible. I mean, there's always a place for Western medicine when it comes to pharmaceutical. I mean, there are needs for it. But people should have choices. Until I was able to find out that for me, CBD helped my asthma tremendously. I've been on inhalers since they were invented. That's how old I am.
Right, okay.
And I was a teenager when they were invented. So I've been on it for a long time. But the side effect is that it can increase your risk of a fatal asthma attack by 50%, depending on when you're taking. And so I'm fortunate that I was able to find that and just by accident, that it helped me. I was taking CBD because I'm more of a CBD person. I think that the entire plant, THC, and every single cannabinoid is awesome. But for me, I don't like the way it makes me feel personally. So I would probably end up, if I needed to go THC, I would do like a 20-to-1 type of deal, so it wouldn't affect me as much, which is fine. And then everyone should have that choice to be able to do that. So I was fortunate to find out that CBD helped me with my asthma by accident, because I was taking it for other things. I have a Neil Patella syndrome. And so we have a very, very high chance of kidney failure. So I can't really take any pain medication, even ibuprofen, any NSAIDs at all, because of the risk of the kidneys. And it just so happened that I had run out of the oil, or actually what it was is I found that I was allergic to the coconut in the oil. So I started vaping CBD, and all of a sudden I didn't need my inhaler anymore.
Well, yeah, that's probably what you was missing.
Yeah, well, it is. And so, our endocannabinoid systems.
Don't we have it in the back of our brain?
Hmm?
Don't we have our own form of cannabinoids
Yes,
or
yes, yeah.
back? Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with a lot of people. They're studying this whole endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome now, and because every mammal has an endocannabinoid system, but when it's inactive, when it's not getting what it needs, which 70 years ago it was, it pulls down the rest of the systems, the immune system, the nervous system, et cetera. And so by boosting that up, you're boosting the health of your entire body, so you can get to that homeostasis point, so that your body can start supporting itself and producing cannabinoids again the way that it used to. And really, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we won't even be having this discussion. I truly believe that it will be legalized within 5 years nationwide, if not earlier. I'm hoping earlier.
I am hoping earlier too, but I'm just afraid of where this president is going to lay the regulation.
And to be honest, we have no clue what he's going to do with a whole lot of things.
You don't know if he's going to turn into a dictator or not. So
yeah.
I really don't have. I'm at a loss for words when it comes to when we'll have it next. I mean, I pray that it will be in the next year or 3, but with the way that this election has went, either if you are a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, Independent, this man changes his mind like a stereo or TV remote.
Yeah. Well, let's do focus though that 8 out of 9 states that had it on their ballots passed it.
Yeah, now
whether it's for medical or for recreational. So that's a step in the right direction.
It is a step in the right direction, and I guarantee you that they will change their bills that they've already passed and everything, the other states, to catch up with the states that.
I read this morning that Texas was going to submit a bill. Yeah, well, no, they've got a new one. They're submitting a bill. I read this morning that they're going to be submitting a bill for the decriminalization of under 1 ounce of marijuana.
Yeah, and that is.
I know they had the weird CBD law that really doesn't help a whole lot of people. But,
yeah, when in 2000 and I think it was 2013 or 14, when the Kuzer-Kuhn Act of Tennessee came. Sherry Jones was the sponsor of the bill, and it had, I think, 6 illnesses that would be on the bill, and it was not like glaucoma, something that people can get by with easy. These were serious illnesses, and I mean, we thought that we would have it because I went and had a private meeting with my local state representative, and he was asking me questions about cannabis. I was asking him questions, and then I was showing him stuff about it being in the Bible and where we're in the Bible Belt. His eyes turned big as saucers. And I said, "Oh my goodness, Mr. Green." And I said, "Yes." I said, "It's not a sin. It's a God put it here for us to use." And I even showed him where it was in the holy anointing oil. And he and I said, are you willing to vote yes on this bill so it can go up onto the next stage, so to
Mhm.
speak? And he said, of course. I got up to Nashville, Tennessee. I was on C-SPAN, Tennessee, and got done testifying. And my local state representative stood up to vote, and he looked at me, and he looked back at everybody else and said, voted no because the bill wasn't ready. And it made me so mad that it made me want to even do more for, Tennessee. And I have had so many rallies throughout the years, and
Let's talk about the rallies.
I've the first couple of ones I had really drew crowds because in my own opinion, I believe that when the Kuster Kuhn bill of Tennessee was going to be up for legislation or whatever, a lot of people had high hopes, and they wasn't afraid that year to come out. And the people that helped me with the rallies, we had over hundreds come out. I mean, and the cop cars was blowing sirens, and people was honking horns, yelling, everything. It was a great time. And when that bill died, and it seemed like Tennessee wasn't going to have cannabis, I was still holding my rallies. I told the people I would not give up on them. And through the 2012 up until now, the numbers from the people that I had at my first, second, and third rally has dropped. And it really kind of disappoints me because I understand that they have a family and a life, and that they are afraid that they will lose their jobs or their kids if they get shown on pictures, TV, or something like that.
Because of your Bible Belt and because of the stigma and all that.
Exactly, and I fully support that. I'm not downing anybody about that, but it's just when they say that they are going, and then they post every day that, hey, everybody come, and then bam.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't come. I'm sorry. And it's like you get everybody's hopes up and think this is going to be a big rally, and then bam. But unfortunately, my last rally, it was one of the best ones I've had because I got to have Willie Nelson's son come and march with us. I had people from California, Maryland, Colorado, Arizona, Lord, Philadelphia.
Support.
Yeah, from many states, and it showed me really, even though I did not have many people at my last rallies, that I was still making a difference in people's lives. And when people drove all that way from different states just for a weekend for something most people would say that's small, I mean, really shows me a lot about their character and who they are. And I really do thank them a lot for it because it helps get Tennessee out there noticed more.
Yeah.
And after my rally, actually, a local state representative from the county below us, where I live, his nephew, I think, died on a accidental overdose on prescription medicine,
Yeah.
anti-anxiety medication, I think. And he had enough. So he went to Colorado and come back, and he is thinking about drafting a bill and etc. I don't know the whole story on that. And plus, where Nashville, Tennessee, and Memphis, Tennessee, is looking already into decriminalizing marijuana. I think you were saying to a half an ounce.
Well, I know Texas is the state of Texas is looking at decriminalizing it up to an ounce.
Yeah, I think that's the same way Tennessee is going,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not wrong. But
well, here's the sad thing. I hear this over and over and over again. It takes a death or a serious illness in a legislature's personal bubble to cause change.
Yeah.
And
well, and now I just heard this from the grapevines, and I heard that I'm not going to say his name.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this congressman, his wife died, and she had a illness that cannabis and the FDA, no matter what they say, can cure. And he come out and said that I would never allow medical marijuana in my state.
Well, here's the thing. That woman could have gone and gotten it herself.
True. Yeah.
So, you can't always blame, but yeah, no, I hear you, and it's true, and I don't want to point fingers at people because
I don't need
personal. Yeah, I mean that's not why we're here, and we support people's personal choices, but we also support the fact that cannabis should be one of the choices, one of the tools that they can choose from.
Yes, and a lot of people. What really actually blew my mind was in the state of Tennessee in the 80s that we had medical marijuana. And I went around asking people that were in their 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, that I was asking them, did you know that Tennessee actually had medical marijuana in the 80s? They're like, no. I'm like, oh my goodness, really? And I even have the facts to prove it. It was a federal study done, I think, by 9 states. If I'm not mistaken.
Now, you get a lot of people calling you personally, and even though they don't show up at the rallies,
Yes,
they will call you for help.
Yes. Now that they won't call me, but they will message me, and I have some people that will just message me asking, I've read your story, and or if they already know me, they will ask me, now how does this type of strain work for you, or this one? And I will give them my opinion, and I will ask them questions about their health and try to help them narrow down the type of strains that they will actually need,
So when the time comes, you're going to be the perfect bud tender.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
That's what we call them here in Colorado.
Well, I have been wanting to move to Colorado for quite some time now. When I heard of that young girl,
Charlotte,
and it saving her life, that was like, that people need to listen up. But the reason why I just want to move out to Colorado so bad is because I know as much as I fight in Tennessee that it's not going to be on the same level as Colorado when it's fully medical marijuana. Now, we'll have like 6 plants, or a certain limit that we can grow from, but, it won't kind of be like California or Colorado. And what I'm trying to get at is when the people that named that oil that helped that little girl's life, that saved her life, and they called it after her name, Charlotte's Web, or Charlotte. It just made me feel deep inside like, since now they have come out and have actually found a strain that helps and that is known to cure seizures, then there must be a way out there that there can be a strain for people that has cerebral palsy.
Yep.
Because when I was younger, I went to Shriners Hospital in Greenville, South Carolina. And it was a great hospital. I have no complaints about it. None whatsoever. But one thing was, the doctors would always tell my mom and my dad, or if I would be in the room with them, that people that have cerebral palsy does not live to be in their 30s. And seeing that video of that woman, Jacqueline Patterson, that proved it wrong. But it still kind of sticks with me in my brain, because I've kind of, if you want to say, been brainwashed. A lot of my younger years of doctors telling me that the longest we've seen somebody live was 39, 40. And I'm like, well, just go ahead and...
Why bother?
Yeah, inject me with something that'll put me out, please. I don't want to suffer. But seeing that video really helped me understand that people, even though with disabilities, can still make an impact and a change in their community, and if they are lucky enough, maybe even the country or even the world. Because just from that woman's, or I would call my mentor, because I actually got to meet her at the Americans for Safer Access Unity Conference in 2014. And everybody was telling me, Seth, your mentor is here. And to tell you the truth, I started crying. And when I seen her, I just was like, I'm seeing a ghost or an angel or something. Because, like, if it wasn't really for her, I would not be sitting here talking to you or be doing the things I am doing. But, you've just got to have that faith in yourself to know that you are capable, and God has gave you that capability of doing great things, whether if you don't have a illness or do have a illness.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only have I seen in the cannabis movement, I've seen in just regular stories that this disabled person has inspired so many people to
Mm-hmm.
do so many great things. And with this cannabis movement being so big, what it is today, it will help so many people with disabilities realize that they have a second chance, so to speak, at a life.
Mm-hmm.
And not only the disabled people, but the veterans and also the people that are going to jail just for a half a nickel and spending, like I said, up to 60 years in prison when it's when it yeah
Mm-hmm.
yeah yeah
That's why I keep going.
when it
Statistically, yeah.
yeah when it's out there proven that rapists are getting less sentence than cannabis users. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
the government is just toying and teasing with us and trying to kill out our population because they think that they have us brainwashed.
And here's the funny thing is that, you know, they're the first ones to say whatever group of people needs to be drug tested. And I'm the first one to say Congress needs to be drug tested.
Yes.
Everybody on a federal payroll needs to be drug tested then. So when we do random drug tests for Congress, then yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's all right, because it needs to be across the board. Don't be discriminating and just doing it for, you know, like low income people and such, because that's unacceptable. Let's move a little bit towards, okay, so I know that religion is a big part of your life.
Yeah, it is.
How about you touch on cannabis and religion?
Okay. Well, like you were saying, I am very religious. I was grown up in church. I went to church every Sunday and Wednesday, every night and every morning. I was in the Awanas and everything. And I just always been brought up that beer was not a drug, but marijuana was. It's evil. Ooh. And I bought into that. And for many years I did. And like I was saying earlier, as I got older, I, and I got made fun of, and I had to make all these hard choices on what to do with my life. And I got into the cannabis movement when I really got my facts straight on the medical aspect of it. I went back, I stepped back, and I just thought, I'm like, well, they're going to come for me from the religious side as well. And plus, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Christian, yeah. So I stepped back and I chatted online with people for weeks, probably months, and did my research through different links that people would send me or I would find on Google on my own, and all of these links that I was going to and these people that were talking about cannabis being in the Bible was actually showing proof. They was saying that it was in the holy anointing oil that John the Baptist used. And where I'm Baptist, I was like, okay, whatever. But when I researched the ingredients of the holy anointing oil, it had cannabis, and that is the Greek translation. So I went back and I did my research and I translated it into modern day English, which is cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I was like, bam, it's an herb. It's in Exodus, it's in Matthews, it's in Revelations, it's Genesis. I mean, you and
If you want to find it, it's in there.
yes,
If you
it
don't
is.
want to find it, then you can gloss over it. But
Yes.
yeah.
And with me and it being a big part of my life, I don't want anybody to think that I'm using my religion just to be able to smoke pot.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, a lot of people, I would say, have been in my position on whether, oh, should I smoke this cannabis or not? Because if I do and I continue to do for my pain, I'm going to go to hell. But, I mean, the facts are there. It's in there. Just you have to be able to open up your mind and listen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it has helped me so much, because there for a while I thought I was so out of control with me doing all different types of bad things and just wild that people telling me that, oh, you're raising awareness for cannabis, or you're doing that for cannabis. At first, it really got to me because I'm like, man, they're really looking down on me. They're going to their pastors, telling them that, the people is brainwashing him and everything. And that's when I went into the religious aspect
Mm-hmm.
of it and did my history all the way back until the ancient Chinese and
Yeah. It's been found in tombs that predate Christianity. Like,
oh,
yeah, easily.
oh yeah, and you've probably seen the article as well, where in one of the king's tombs or pharaoh, that he had his little bong or pipe, and I'm like, you all are still believing that this is a sin.
Mm-hmm.
And it is good that the states are willing to draft and move a piece of legislation dealing with cannabis only in the CBD form, but I've got to say, not everybody is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Exactly.
for me, I have seizures. Me and tons of other people help get the seizure bill for Tennessee passed because of the rallies I was holding and the stories I was being told about their kids having 500 to 600 seizures a day.
Exactly.
And it made me so mad. But when I got it passed, like it was just like, I mean,
It's step one.
it's step one, but from my state aspect and what I do not get and what I am frustrated about is that Tennessee has already had it legalized in the 80s under a federal study for patients, and they are wanting to reset the book on cannabis when the state of Tennessee can go back and look at all of the cannabis facts in the 80s
Mm-hmm.
on how it helped people.
Yeah,
And
they
then
should.
they can go from there.
Mm-hmm. They should.
And that is why I'm so...
It's stupid. It's stupid that it's not legal. It's ridiculous.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And for me, I'm just now getting over 4 seizures. I had one last night, but which, thank Lord, it was not a full-blown grandma one.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wasn't making any sense, it's because I had 3 6 back-to-back
Seizures.
grandma seizures, and I was so I was jerking so much that I was ended up like a V,
Yeah.
and like my back's been killing me, and I have actually, believe it or not, after I have came off of all of my medications except for one man-made pill, and I would have to go to the hospital because out of nowhere I would have like 5 to 6 grandma seizures back to back to back to back to back, and my mom wouldn't know what to do. Well, when we would call the hospital and they would say, Mr. Green, we will get you straightened out right now, just relax. I'm like, thank you. But then, and this is going on as truth, I'm not making this up, when they find out who I am from TV and they check my blood and they see that I've got THC in my system, they have actually unplugged all of the cords and IVs hooked up to me, told me to put my clothes back on, and they kicked me out the hospital. And this has happened 2 times, and I've never went back because I can't go back. I mean, I'm stuck in this state. Honest to God, I mean, I am seriously stuck in this state because if I go to the hospital, they kick me out. If I go to my doctor to try and explain to them, please, I qualify for this CBD oil bill that I helped pass. Please write me a prescription so I can at least give it a shot. But they won't. And that's why, I mean, I can't move because I've been scammed already 2 times by one. One was a performing artist, and the other was a company called Healthy Hopes. And now I just don't really know what to do anymore. I mean, it's either keep on fighting until it gets to Tennessee, or breaking a promise to all of the people of Tennessee from day one when I made my decision in my head to go out on the internet and national TV, well, around here in my area, and say, I smoke pot. If you want to go against my religious freedom and my freedom of speech, you come ahead, arrest me. But I guarantee you that you all will not be the only ones going down with me, because I will sue you, the state, the federal government, going against my constitutional beliefs.
Well, how about we do some shout outs? I know that there have been people who have helped you along the road
Yes.
that have made your life, that have given you, support and have helped you with your mission.
Yes, yeah. Mainly the shout outs are just from the people, my friends over the internet, that have been behind me from day one since 2012, and not being a fake friend, not saying bad things or using you in any means necessary or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I just like to thank, all of the people that still to this day supports me from my area, and that comes out to my rallies, helps me spread the word to the people of my region to gain awareness. And I would like to thank the friends that are from around Tennessee that are in the movement, that are trying, like me, to get something accomplished for the people of this state. And the other shout outs to all of my friends that put me in their magazines and articles. I would like to thank Dr. Asim, the Dean of Oaksterdam University and California. I would like to thank Willie Nelson's son, Eddie Lee Nelson, and Green Life Granny, James Priest, and Vanessa Adams, the real hemp queen, because I've got to meet them, and they just they really help kind of give me the boost I needed to get back on track, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
it is hard fighting your fight.
It is. And the last shout out is my partner from medicalmarijuana.com. They are a great business. They are out in California. You need to go and check out their website, medicalmarijuana.com. They are a great organization, very nice, laid back group of people. And trust me, I would not be working with them to help get me out there and everything unless I knew that they was good people, and they are really great people. I've never seen the boss of the company before, but as weird as it may sound, I sometimes call him my father because, he has just gave me so much guidance
Mm-hmm.
and understanding about the plant because his website was the actual website that I found Jacqueline Patterson's video, the girl that has cerebral palsy. And when I found that out, I emailed both of them, and I emailed him and was like, I thank you very much for putting this up on your website. And then, I messaged her and told her, you gave me another life. But those are the shout outs that I'd like for people to know. And they are really great people, and they will help you in any way possible. And they're willing to do what is right for the movement.
And let's hope that there are a dozen or more people that watch this that you will do for them what Jacqueline did for you.
Well,
I know there will be hundreds of people watching it. That's not, but that there is going to be a group of people that
yes.
will connect with this, and that you will propel them the way she propelled you.
Well, see, I have actually done that. There is this family that lives about 10 to 15 minutes away from me, and their son or her son cannot even talk, is in a wheelchair, cannot even do anything. And he has the worst case of cerebral palsy that anybody can have. And he is one of the main reasons I do this,
Mm-hmm.
is because when I went over there to really get a grasp on what I was dealing with and thinking that, oh goodness, people should feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
And try to help me. I went over to this young man's house, and he could not even talk or nothing. And I could not hardly even sit in the house without crying.
Yeah.
Because the state government is so corrupted here that the nurses that are watching him stole his medication. I don't know if they still are.
Yeah.
But when we got the seizure bill passed, I thought it would bring him some relief. But like we was talking earlier, everybody is different. Everybody's DNA is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's brain is different. And they was able to get a hold of the cannabis seizure oil bill for Tennessee. And he just requires more THC than the others.
Yeah.
So,
So we got to keep fighting and
yes.
do what we have to do to get the whole plant legalized.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And I mean, if it wasn't for people like that coming into my life, I would probably been backed out of this movement a long time ago. But I keep on telling you reasons why I stay in it, and one of of the other reasons is because I just get people saying that, they've been inspired or they are a fan. And personally, I've got such a big heart. I don't want anybody to go to jail or look bad or anything. But this movement right here has brought out the old Seth Green that
The fighter.
yes, that did not take no crap.
Mhm.
Yes, because
And that's what we need. That's
yes,
what we need in the movement.
yeah, and not enough people are willing to speak out until I think the actual federal government comes out and says, hey, we're doing this on a federal study now.
Mhm.
And then I believe personally, then that's when the people will start coming out of the closet more and supporting it, signing petitions, coming to rallies, blah, blah, blah.
Well, we appreciate everything that you've done, to help others. I know that you've helped a lot of people, and that you continue to help more.
Well, I thank you, and I thank everybody that has gave me a chance to be in their magazine or article or radio podcast. But you all don't really understand. We should be thanking you all, because if it wasn't for you all, our stories would not be heard to the right people to get the right stuff done for not only yourself but for the whole country in general.
And that's what we're trying to do, is nationwide.
Well, everybody is doing it, and you are just one of another person.
Another voice.
Yes.
And we need a chorus of them, single voices. There's no solos in this movement. We need a chorus of voices.
And you never know. You might end up working for High Times or owning your own big podcast or anything. Because I can tell that you are passionate enough about this movement and the patience in it, that God is willing to give you blessings upon you to make a difference and better your life and have a secure future. That's just how I see it.
Thank you, Seth.
Well,
thank you.
You're very welcome, and I thank you very much.
All right. Well, we will follow up with you when you do your next rally, when you do your next article, or wherever the next steps are for you. And I wish you continued health. So.
Well, I thank you very much, and you the same, and I hope everything works out, and keep fighting.
That's right. All right, everyone, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next week on another episode of CBD Talk Podcast, and stay happy and stay healthy.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks again for listening, and be sure to tune in again next Wednesday at cbdtalkpodcast.com. Until then, stay happy and stay healthy.